What's up guys, my name's Brandon, and it seems like just yesterday when Apple introduced iOS 15, but here we are in early 2022 and we're already thinking about that next shiny object that is iOS 16. And in this video, I wanted to discuss the potential supported devices, some leaked features that you will absolutely want to hear about, along with when to expect iOS 16 to be released. And before we get into it, I want to make sure that if you're watching this video right now, that you are subscribed. I post iOS updates frequently, and I've noticed that some of you come back to watch, but you'll miss a video in between, which tells me you're not subscribed. So make sure to hit that subscribe button down below so that you can see my videos more frequently and so that you don't miss out on any juicy leaks or important iOS updates. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and start by discussing device compatibility. More importantly, will the iPhone 6s and the iPhone SE still be supported with iOS 16? So here we have the iPhone 6s and the iPhone SE. And if you guys remember, everybody thought that iOS 15 would drop support for both of these devices. Nobody thought that they would be running on iOS 15, but Apple shocked us by keeping these guys alive along with every other device that was able to run iOS 14. But for 2022 and iOS 16, I think that changes. I think that the iPhone 6s and the iPhone SE will finally be dropped after 6 years of software support, which is just crazy impressive in itself. So both of these phones shipped with iOS 9 back in 2015 and 2016 respectively, and they were supported all the way through 2022 with iOS 15. But now, I don't think it makes any sense for them to be supported for iOS 16, and I think this for a few reasons. So number one, and I said this last year as well, the iPhone 6s and the iPhone SE were likely only supported with iOS 15 in the first place because there were not any major changes with that software. But when you look back at like an iOS 14, we got major changes like the home screen widgets, the UI changes, picture-in-picture, app clips, a ton of major changes, but there wasn't really anything like that with iOS 15. And Apple probably kept support for these older devices like the iPhone 6s and the iPhone SE just so that they can work out the bugs that came with like an iOS 14 where we had a lot of major changes. Another reason that I don't see the iPhone SE or the iPhone 6s getting supported with iOS 16 is because look at this desk right here. There are more iOS devices out there than ever before right now. And that only makes things harder on Apple when developing software, because what if something works fine on all devices, but there's an issue like on the iPhone 6s specifically because of the chipset inside or because of the display? Well, then they have to push out another update just to fix a bug on that one device, and it just kind of becomes a nuisance. And it's not like there are not cheap devices out there with home buttons, because we have the iPhone SE2, and then we also have the iPhone SE3 coming this year, most likely as well. So it's not like we don't have any devices without a home button. So that's another reason I can see device support being dropped for these two devices. And then also a third reason is because iOS 15 was just more of a stability update, and I would expect at least a couple of pretty major changes in iOS 16. And I'm sure that the A9 chip inside of both of these devices, they both have the A9 chip and 2 gigabytes of RAM, and I'm sure that's not going to be enough power to withstand this upcoming iOS 16 update. Not to mention that a lot of these 6S and SE users have a 16 gigabyte device, myself included. This SE right here, as you can tell by the lack of applications, is just 16 gigabytes. I can hardly fit anything on here. I think I have one application I was able to install because the system software just takes up so much space. So those are some of the main reasons I think Apple is going to drop support for the first generation iPhone SE, the iPhone 6s and 6s Plus, and the 5th generation iPad, all of which have the A9 chip inside. And then I'd also expect support for the A8 and A8X devices to be dropped as well. So the iPad Air 2, the iPad Minis 3 and 4, and the OG iPad Pro might also not be making it to iOS 16. But if you have an iPhone 7 or an iPhone 7 Plus and newer, you are going to be fine, and you'll likely be able to update to iOS 16 later this year, thanks to that quad-core CPU and the A10 Fusion chip inside. All right, so now let's move on to some of the rumored features coming in iOS 16. So Apple really kept things under wraps last year with hardly anything getting leaked whatsoever, and they've done a great job again this year, at least so far. However, we do have a couple of features that are reportedly coming with this next major iOS release. And some of these rumors come courtesy of iHack2 on Twitter. I will leave his Twitter down in the description below. So the first thing mentioned is a new home screen interface. So it looks like we might finally be getting new icons on the home screen along with new types of widgets. So potentially interactive widgets. Finally, I know a lot of people are mad that we cannot have interactive widgets. We have to actually tap on the widget to go into the application to do anything. So we might be finally getting some more interactive widgets along with something on the home screen that acts as a mini shortcut. So maybe running shortcuts from the home screen in a different way than we have on iOS 15. We might also be seeing widgets come to the lock screen. So maybe widgets on the home screen and not just when you have to swipe over like this to see the widget. So we might be seeing that along with a quote big new feature on the lock screen. So I'm not sure what this big new feature is, but it might be an always on display. Since we have a lot more OLED iPhones on the market right now, we could see an always on display come with iOS 16, although that could be a more hardware based feature. I'm not too sure on that. We may have to wait for the iPhone 14 to see an always on display, but it is a possibility. We might also be seeing a change to the control center. So we might have a new look for the control center here. And this has been rumored pretty much every year for the past couple of years, but maybe this is the time where we'll finally see a more drastic change to the control center and not just, the addition of different toggles and things like that. Maybe we'll get a fully reworked control center. That would be nice. And then here's an interesting one. So iHack2 says that there's going to be a new way to kill all apps. At least that's how I read this tweet, but it could mean just a new way to close out of applications. So we'll have to wait and see what this means, but it looks like there is going to be a way to change, or there is going to be a change to the way we either close all applications or individual applications. We'll have to wait and see on that. There's also a rumor out there indicating that the iPhone 14 is going to get a new car crash detection feature. So basically your iPhone 14 will be able to detect when you get in a crash, and it's going to dial, emergency services or the police right once you get in that car accident. We could also be seeing that come to other devices via iOS 16 as well. And if you guys want to see my wish list video that is full of iOS 16 features that I would personally love to see, I will leave that linked down in the description below. I hope some of those come true as well. But yeah, as we get closer to June, I'm sure there will be more rumored and leaked features, and I will be making videos on those. So again, make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss those upcoming videos on iOS 16 features. Now let's discuss when we can expect to see iOS 16 Beta 1 released and when to expect the final public release of iOS 16 as well. Now, keep in mind, none of this is confirmed. This is all speculation and just my personal predictions based on a lot of research and also based on the fact that I nailed the exact dates for the past 2 years in a row. All right, so Apple reveals their next major iOS version every single year at their Worldwide Developers Conference, and I would expect the same thing this year. So these events usually occur in early June, and if we look back at WWDC 2021, it took place on June 7th through the 11th. So if we go to 2022, if we go down here to June, I would expect the 2022 event to take place on June 6th and run through June 10th. And just like usual, we should see that first beta of iOS 16 after the conference on June 6th. So right there on that Monday is when we should see the first developer beta of iOS 16 roll out. And then for the final release, this is where it's a little bit harder to predict just because it can be on any day of the week. So if we look back in time, iOS 11 was released on Tuesday, September 19th. iOS 12 was on a Monday, September 17th. iOS 13 was on a Thursday, September 19th. iOS 14 was on a Wednesday, September 16th. iOS 15 was on a Monday, September 20th. So as you could tell, these dates are all over the place, and it seems like Apple could just release the software whenever they want, at any time they want, which is true. But if you look at the dates closely, you will notice that they all fall on or around the third week of September every single year. So with that in mind, if we go down to September right here, I would say that iOS 16 will be releasing on the week of the 19th. So really any day between the 19th and the 22nd is possible. But if I had to guess, I would say it will most likely be on the 19th or the 20th of September 2022. And just like always, we should see the new iOS release alongside the new iPhones. So when the iPhone 14s get announced, that's when we will see the release of iOS 16. So there you have it. That is the latest on iOS 16 in terms of projected supported devices, expected features, and of course the release date as well. Keep in mind, this is all speculation. Everything could change. I will be making follow-up videos to this as well as certain things change and more leaks and rumors come out. So stay tuned for that. But if you guys enjoyed this video, I would appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up. Also, let me know what your thoughts are on iOS 16 and what you want to see in the software down in the comments below. And of course, make sure you do subscribe so you don't miss when iOS 16 comes out. I will be making a ton of videos on that as usual. But anyways, guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.